I do too. So I did LinkedIn.
Yes. Hello, 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 ladies. Thanks so much for being here. This is Her Talk Show. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I am here with Elisa. We're going to be talking all about launching smarter, not harder. For those of you who have launched a course, are about to launch a course, a program, you're going to want to stay tuned. You're going to want to watch this thing in full. Elisa is the guru when it comes to getting these things launched, and the 3 strategies. She's going to be sharing the 3 strategies that will actually help you scale. So I'm super, super excited to have her here as a treat to us. Yeah. So let's jump in. All right. If you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can give you some love in the comments. We are here delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership on Her Talk Show with some of the most brilliant women globally. We have interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. We have Elisa. She is a launch strategist and project manager. She helps established coaches launch their online programs and events with ease so they can focus on scaling their business. She works with her team by keeping everyone focused and on task to her launch plan and strategy. This way, the coach can be out speaking, selling, and filling their events, knowing that everything is being taken care of on the back end. I think this is freaking brilliant, first of all, the business strategy of just hiring someone like you, because it is. People don't realize when they're doing stuff like this that you have to basically be doing 2 things at the same time. You have to be like fully in on selling out and actually like pulling money in while you're actually building out this whole launch. People that do it on their own or attempt to do it on their own, the sales are always way down compared to those who link up with someone like yourself to actually do the strategy on the back end.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And also, like, while you're doing a launch, you're still running your business.
Yeah.
So you think of all the stuff you normally are doing anyway, and then you have the launch on top of it. And like you said, those 2 elements, yeah, it's a lot of work. And so, yeah, I totally recommend, even if it's not me, for everybody to get help with that in some way, because it's so much work and you don't want to burn yourself out, especially as you're leading up to it. You know, if by the time you get to say you're doing a 3-day event or something like that, you don't want to be burnt out by the time you get there, you know, because you want to bring your best self forward when you actually get to your event and you're selling your program and you want all that enthusiasm. So, yeah, so I find that help is often needed unless you want to burn yourself out, which I don't think anybody wants.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm so excited to be talking about this. I know that this is definitely something that a lot of women are inquiring about. You know, what is the strategy behind being able to get this, be more successful with this? So I'd love to kind of dive in. First of all, like, how long have you been doing this? Like, why should we trust you? How do you know these 3 strategies? So, like, you know, how long have you been doing this? How successful have you been at doing this?
So I've been doing this for about 2 years, but I've been in the project management industry for 15. So I work as a project manager, working in like software development and different kind of industries. So that whole strategizing, planning, and like, being like sort of the task manager is something I've been doing for a long time. And when I started my business, I started as a life coach and a health coach. And so I was doing all my own launches. And of course, I like meticulously planned them all, because being me, I was like, how am I going to do this? So I put this plan together. And then one of my coaches was like, you're really like organized and like, this stuff. And a lot of people, I think, as they come into entrepreneurship, don't know business strategy, don't know business operations, don't quite get all of that. And so I kind of have that from working in corporate for so long. And he's like, I really think that, those skills are needed in the coaching industry. So I switched into that. And so yes, having the experience of doing it myself, planning it myself and keeping myself accountable to it, I put that together for my clients. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Definitely something that I think a lot of us can relate to as far as like the organization behind a lot of parts of our business. We
Mhm.
don't realize, so many of the women within my community are from corporate. And you don't really think when you're in corporate, like, what are the systems and strategies behind making sure this business runs correctly? You're just like, you just do your division, right? Just like
Right.
your task that you're hired to do is what you do. You don't realize that there's like 20, 50, 100 other people doing things to make this business work. And then
Exactly.
when we break out on our own, I remember there was like this aha moment that sounds so stupid, like thinking of it, but it was like a real aha moment for me when like I realized that I could make my own forms. Like I ran so much of my business just on like college ruled paper. I, for some reason, thought that, like, the forms that you fill out at, like, the doctor's office or the dentist or when you go get your car fixed were, like, from the government. Like, the
Oh.
government made the forms. It didn't even dawn on me that there was just, like, some admin and the boss was like, "I don't know, make, like, a form to, like, fill out." And then some lady just sat there and, like, made a form. It, like, didn't even occur to me that I could just make my own forms until I was, like, a year or more into my business.
I love that.
And I know I'm not the only one thinking that, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
these
yeah.
things that make our lives so much easier that we just don't even think
Mhm.
to know
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, totally, and that's something that I love to do as well as I'm working with a client, if they don't have kind of some systems or processes set up or, I like to create templates for them so they can use them next time. I like to create, like, workflows and, like, things so that they can just kinda rinse and repeat it and only have to tweak a few things, like maybe the name or the date or the time or whatever it may be, so that they can rinse and repeat it so they can be more efficient next time.
Yeah,
Yeah, because 'cause you're right, and it's funny when I start working with clients, it's always like, "Okay, how is your business set up?" I kinda get in, they gave me access to their CRM, and I try and figure out, like, how their structure is and how they're kinda organized so I can, just continue their way, and then, I can bring in improvements, but of course, I wanna talk to them about that, as opposed to just kinda being like, "This is the way you need to be doing everything," it's really custom, it's all a conversation, and I ask them about that, like, "What forms do you have? Where do they live?" And if they don't have something, then we can create it for them.
or we
Yeah.
have forms and then we're like, "Oh, I don't know where it is." Like like, "Where's the master copy?" "Oh, I don't even know."
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That happens
that's
too
great.
sometimes.
That's great.
Or they're
I think
just doing, like, every time they're just, creating new ones, and it's like, "Okay, well, let's not reinvent the wheel, let's make templates and reuse them."
yeah.
It's so much
I
more efficient.
I think most of us need an Elisa in our life. It's just we don't know that we need her in our life until we're just drowning in our own filth that finally we're like, "Oh, I watched a podcast. Let me connect with this lady." All right,
Yeah, I
so
do get that from my clients, they say that, like, I feel like I'm just sort of, like, keeping my head above water, or
totally.
they're, like, deep in the weeds of their business, and they don't wanna be there anymore, right? They wanna be out coaching, they wanna be speaking, they wanna spelling, don't wanna be worrying about all of the nitty-gritty detail as much anymore, especially as you're scaling, like, you just don't have the capacity for that, so
Exactly.
don't do it.
I've
Yeah.
interviewed so many burnout coaches, and in my head and sometimes out loud, I'll be like and they'll be like describing, like, what it means to be burnt out or what it physically looks like, and I'm like, "Dude, this is me every day." Just like you're describing me every day.
You're like, "Is that what's happening?" Like, "Oh, okay."
Does this mean I'm going to die? Just answer that question. Am I going to die? This is great. All right. So, launch strategist. So, what is a launch strategist? Why do we all need one? And then we'll go into what these three magical strategies are. So, why do we all need a launch strategist technically?
Well, I think that whenever you do a launch, you wanna have a launch like, you wanna have a strategy for it, which is why I like to talk about there's 3 that I wanna talk about today, but of course, there's more to it than that, but I feel like these are the 3 main ones, and so if you haven't actually, like, thought through that whole process, I think that's one thing that I noticed with clients as well is, like, thinking things through end to end and just kinda talking it through and talking it through with somebody. I get that feedback all the time. They're like, "Oh, this is so great to actually talk this through," because as entrepreneurs, we often work solo, right? We often are thinking things through or maybe not thinking things through. So to talk to somebody and bounce ideas off of them, and I ask a lot of questions because it's custom. Every launch is different, and so we just kind of figure it out and we shape it together. And I think that that's kind of like what the benefit of a launch strategist brings is to actually help you think about all the stuff and put together sort of like a framework and piece it out. So then your team can go, run with it, and they have a really, everybody knows where they're going. I think that's one thing about strategy is like, you don't kind of know what your goals are and your strategy is. You don't really know what you're marching towards. And especially as like, if you have an event for your launch, if you want to get a certain amount of people in there, you need to know your numbers and need to be tracking towards that. So as you get close to it and you're like, oh, we're only 50% of what I was hoping to get there, then you need to do more personal outreach or more marketing or what have you, to achieve the goals you want. So
I love
that's
that. I
also
love that
part of the
you're already
strategy.
bringing up numbers, because that was going to be one of my questions is, is part of a launch strategist, like you personally, everyone I'm sure does it differently, but for you personally, do you go over the numbers with the client? Is that part of the strategy?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We think about the revenue they want to make for that launch. And then we think about, okay, then we have to reverse engineer it, right? So it's like, okay, if I want to make this much revenue with this launch, how many programs do I need to sell to hit that? And then, so that means this many people. And then if I need this many people, means like, my conversion rate of people showing up to my event purchasing is whatever percentage it may be, let's say 10%. So then you have to have, if you want to sell 10, then you might need, say you have a 30% conversion rate, you want 30 people there. And then you have to invite more people. So we kind of reverse engineered being, okay, this is how many people we need to reach. So we can have this many people register. So we can have this many people show up. So we can sell this many things to hit the strategy and hit the goals.
I love this. And I want to stay here for a second, because I think this is one of the biggest issues when it comes to entrepreneurship in general. It's just not really understanding that at all. So if you don't mind, let's just work through it right now. And I'm actually seriously going to pull out my calculator so I can work this with you. So let's say I came to you, right? And I'm like, hey, Elisa, I want to run a program, an online business module set up for women business owners to be able to hit 6 figures. Okay. So this is like the title. I need to make $20,000.
Perfect. Okay. In revenue, right?
In revenue.
Okay.
What would be like, just talking money, not content.
Right.
Just talking money. How would you talk me through how much to charge and how many people I need to talk to?
So the how much to charge part, I find that most of my clients already have a program that they have a price to already. Most of them already do that. So they say my program is this much money.
Okay. So
say
let's
it was
say,
like $2,000, then we would know
okay.
that you need to have 10 people buy it, right? To
Okay.
hit the 20 grand.
Okay. So let's say I'm charging $2,000 per person.
Yeah.
Okay. And I need to make 20. So that means I need to sell 10.
You need to sell 10. That's right.
Okay. So sell 10, multiply that by 2,000 that they're paying, and that would equal 20,000. So then how do I figure out how many people I need to talk to in order to hit 10?
Yes. So it depends what kind of launch you're doing. So if you're doing something, so for say 2,000, you might just do a free webinar. So say you do a free webinar, that's part of the launch. So that's in the webinars where you sell the $2,000 program. The conversion rate typically of a free webinar is about 10%. So of people that are there. So so let's times that. So if we need, what did we say? We needed 10 people at 2,000, right? So 10% of that. So we need 100 people live at the webinar.
Yeah, see, this is what people don't think about.
Right. And so it can be hard to get 100 people live at a webinar. So then you might think, okay, well, maybe I could do 3 or 4 webinars in a month leading up to my launch and trying to get 25 people at each one of them. Right. So because sometimes the stress of getting 100 just to one could be a little bit too much. So you could spread it out and have a couple of different webinars over a period of time. And throughout that, you would get the 100 live between all of them. So you get 100 people live. Sorry, can I keep going with the numbers? Are we good?
Yeah, please.
It's a lot of math.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to say we're going to do 4 different webinars. We want to get 25 people live at each or something like that. But 100 people in total. So for a free webinar, the show up rate of people who register to actually showing up is like 20 to 30%. If it's like a paid event, it's usually higher. It's usually like 50. I've seen 80% for paid events. So if let's say a 30% conversion rate, So that means that you have to get 300 people registered. So you need 300 people registered to get 100 to show up to sell 10 to make your 20 grand. Yeah. And that means then you have to think, if you need 300 people registered, how many people do you have to invite? Like, you got to invite everybody. You probably know. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and this is what individuals don't sit down and do. They don't sit down even for a moment to think about that. And then they have 6 people show up at the webinar and they wonder why no one bought one.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I did a webinar. How many people showed? 6. And then no one bought anything.
Yeah.
You needed 100.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You needed at least 10 to sell 1, and you got 6.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly. And so then that comes to the when you think about like your lead strategy, is like, okay, well, where are all these people coming from?
Yep.
Right. And so you can think of all the different ways. Well, maybe I need to enroll JVs. Maybe I need to do live events. Maybe I need to do speaking gigs. Maybe, there's all these different ways in which you can try to get those leads in. You can think of your own email list. You can think of your social media following. There's tons of different ways that you can get people. But when the number's that big, you're like, ooh, maybe I need to, try different lead strategies and bring them into or try different ways of getting leads and bring them into the lead strategy so I can get the 300 people.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of people.
And this is why, ladies, for those of you listening live, I see you. Thank you for being here. For those of you listening on the replay, this is why Elisa and I opened up with, right? Her intro here said, she works with her team by keeping everyone focused and on task to her launch plan and strategy. This way, the coach can be out speaking, selling, and filling their events, knowing that everything is taken care of on the back end. See, that's why. Because you have to talk to 300 people to get 100 to show up. That's a lot of freaking work.
That's a lot of work. It's a lot of talking. And yeah, depending on the type of launch, if it's, say, like a 3-day event or something like that, where you actually got to sell the tickets, and that can be even harder, you got to start doing that early on, especially if you're going to do speaking gigs. Like, speaking engagements or opportunities are a really great way to sell tickets, or to be like, hey, come to my free webinar. But often you have to book those months in advance. Yeah. Right. So I always tell people, like, you got to start at least like 3 to 6 months before. And if you're working with joint venture partners, you want to get on their calendar, right? You want to call them up and be like, hey, I got an event in 3 months. Can you promote it for me? And get on their calendar, because some people, their calendars book up. I know a couple of my clients, they're like, we can't do any promos for JVs until 2026. Yeah. So, so you got to get on it early, because some people have come to me with just 6 weeks to go. And I'm like, that's not enough time to really get those 300 people that we were just talking about. It takes time to, incrementally bring them in. And especially with the speaking opportunities, like, you want to, I get a list of like 100 different speaking opportunities. And I went to, see if there was any available at the end of October. This was a couple of weeks ago, and there was none, right? Because a lot of them are either done, or if this is a summit, they have like a deadline as to when you have to get, your application in. So you got to get those in early so that they're lined up in line for your launch.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we have to really think of your own buying patterns, ladies. Like, I'm certain that very few times have you signed up for some sort of an event to go to. Could be a retreat, could be an event, could be a 1-day, could be a 2-day, could be a weekend, could even just be one of those freebies. And you sometimes have to see it like 7 times before you finally sign up for it. Very rarely are you just seeing something that's coming up for an event, even if it's cheap, even if it's $27 or $47. You'll look at it, you'll dive in, you'll look at the sales page, and you'll be like, and you click away and you continue watching cat videos, right?
Right. And then it remains in one of those tabs that you forget about. And you're like, I'll look at that again later.
Exactly. So everyone's doing the same thing to your crap. No one's buying it the very first time that they see it. They have to see it a few times. So as Elisa's saying, you have to start promoting this well more than 6 weeks ahead of time, because they have to see it 6 times before they even sign up for it. I love that. Absolutely love it. Great info. Okay. So there's 3 strategies that actually scale? Let's dive in.
All right. Well, the first is the launch strategy, which we've kind of been talking about already,
Ooh,
right? It's like
great.
figuring out your numbers and kind of doing that reverse engineering, figuring out what your business objectives are. Like, what's the price of my program? How much revenue do I want to bring in? How many people does that equate to? So kind of, thinking of all these different questions, I think really help to build out that strategy. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that we missed. But I think that's pretty much it, is doing exactly what we just did. I think that was kind of puts together the launch strategy. So you
And
know
that's what people
exactly
aren't
how many
doing.
people.
Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
people aren't doing. They'll just launch a whole thing on a weekend. Like I'll have people just jump down on, oh, I have this new thing, like client calls or whatever. And they're like, oh, awesome. When is it? It's in 2 weeks. And then I'll talk to them a few weeks later. I'm like, oh, how did it go? 2 people showed. And they're like so sad. They're like really sad about it. Like they're like physically hurting inside. But it's like, girl, 2 weeks
Yeah. It's not enough
with
time.
no strategy.
Right. Yeah. 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 I remember I had a client once who we were kind of talking about this, and I was like, so, let's talk about your leads and how you're going to get them in there. And he was like, well, I don't have an email list and my following is not really my followers. And well, I'm like, oh, okay. So like, how are you going to engage your target market? And he's like, I don't really know. I was hoping you could help me with that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's try and figure that out. But I feel like that part kind of even has to happen beforehand. Like a lot of people that I work with, they already have a bit of a list. They already have a bit of a following. They know who their people are and kind of ways to connect with them more. But I remember that was a tricky launch. We started with 0 people, and I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Number 2
is the lead strategy. So, we have we just reverse engineered everything, know our conversion rates, know our numbers. So it's kind of, how are you going to get the people there? Like, where are all these people coming from? So thinking about things like, they could come from your email list, they could come from your social media following. You have your lead magnets. That's a good way to get people into your world. We talk about JV partners, speaking, right? And either inviting people to your free event if it's free, if you can sell tickets, if you're allowed to sell from stage, or getting them on your lead magnet, which will eventually all roads lead to your main event. Same with like gift giveaways or bundles, you can get leads through that. And networking is a big one that I do. It's a lot of times just out there seeing people and putting my face everywhere, showing up wherever I can. And even, booking a call, like, is that a way that you get leads in, that they book calls with you? And so you kind of can think about, how many calls do I need? I know one of my business mentors has a rule of having 5 conversations every day. It's like, wow, that's a lot. But that's his strategy. Is like, I have 5 conversations and I get them through my email, through networking, through social media. So so that's kind of thinking that, okay, like we know now how many people we have to get. Where are they coming from? And can I put my fingers into all these different strategies to get more and more people into my world?
Yeah. Great work. Okay. So launch strategy, lead strategy.
Oh, and just one other thing I wanted to say about the lead strategy.
Yeah.
A great way to get more leads is if you like to host a speaking event yourself, or even to host like a gift giveaway or a bundle yourself. So if you decide you're going to host a summit as part of your launch strategy, that like if by you hosting the summit means that you get all the leads on your email list. If you are a speaker in a summit, you only get the leads of the people who download your lead magnet. So usually that number is much smaller. Same with a gift giveaway. If you're the host, you get everybody that opts into the giveaway. And then the contributors to the giveaway only get the people that opt into their lead magnet. So I think that's really good because you can get hundreds of new leads.
To that point, I heard this like 10 years ago. And to this day, this is very much how I created the network that I created. Somebody said something to the line of, anybody can go to a party, but not everyone's going to host the party.
Right.
And it's the host that's like the cool one. And it doesn't matter if you're cool or not. If you're hosting the party, you're the cool one. You're the one that
Mhm.
everyone's going to go to. You're the one that's like the lead. You're the one that's the authority. So, like, yeah,
Yes.
go to parties, network, do all the things. But if you're trying to get to the next level, like to the idea of this thing that I was listening to, host the party.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you think about it, it is a thing. Like I think of the parties that I've gone to, like little house parties when I was growing up, like, when you're in your 20s, little house parties, or then as you get older and now you have like kids, like the people who are hosting parties at their houses, like barbecues and stuff. It's kind of like, ooh, this is the host of the party. You kind of put that person on a little bit more of a pedestal, because like this person knows all these people, and even if you know a lot of the people, you don't know all the people.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's totally true.
And yeah, exactly. And so if you think about that, like say with a summit or something, if you're the host of the summit and then you have, say, I don't know, 15 speakers, those 15 speakers are all going to be promoting your summit with your name on it. So think
Yeah,
about how you're reaching the people on all of their lists and all of their social media. So like your name and your face is getting out there as this authority of this host of a summit, as an example. Yeah. So I think that can give you a ton of visibility.
yeah. Two of the ways that I really created traction towards my business was in 2022 and 2023. I held like the largest and longest podcast ever. There was like a name to it. It was like an obnoxious name that was basically just like, we're the biggest and the baddest. It was very Trump-esque. And I hosted a 16-hour podcast in 2022, and then an 18-hour podcast in 2023.
That is
Um,
amazing.
yeah, the first one, I think I had 50 something speakers, all back to back, all lined up, like back to back to back to back. I was there straight for the full, and then and the speakers were just coming in. Some of them stayed for an hour and spoke, and some of them came in and stayed. Just stayed, and we had like open conversation. And then the second year that I ran it, I did 18 hours, and my goal was 100. I'm like, I'm going to try to double it, and I did not get 100, but I got like 96 or something speakers.
Nice.
And when I tell you, my popularity went through the roof. That like set the whole foundation for my whole business, because I was the woman who was just running this obnoxiously long podcast, the longest and bestest and goodest podcast ever, and became known for that.
Yeah, and I'm sure the next year people were like, I want to be on that.
Yeah. Yeah. But to the point of what we're talking about here, ladies, I only did it 2 years in a row because it's hard as fuck.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like 18 hours straight. Like, wow, that's a lot of camera time or
to set it up and then to also promote it. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
It was absolutely insane.
Yes. And again, you need help with that too. With the speakers, like that's something like the speaker wrangling, I kind of like to call it sometimes, getting all their information, like that also takes a lot of work, a lot of
and then
follow-up.
so it's like, it's always stuff like, oh, you spelled my name wrong. Oh, my website's wrong. And I'm like in the middle of a live event trying to like make all these changes. I mean, it was crazy.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
But also
tech support on the day. That's for sure.
Yeah. No strategy, no idea what I was doing, just totally winging it, organized.
Yeah.
But, when I think about what could have come out of something like that versus what actually did, right? I could have quadrupled the business that I actually did if I had somebody assisting me, helping me, or guiding me.
Yeah. That's a very good point. But wow, congratulations. That's incredible. I get why you only did it 2 years in a row. But yes, the point is that it totally catapulted you, right?
Yeah.
If you were this host of this amazing event. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, I do plan on bringing it back at some point. All right. Launch strategy, lead strategy.
Third strategy is marketing strategy. So now right? You know how many people you need and how many people you have to reach. You kind of know where they're coming from because you did your lead strategy and how you might target all those people and reach all of them. And actually another great lead strategy is just personal outreach. I find getting people into your events, the people you already know, So The marketing strategy is, well, I mean, there's tons to do with marketing, but the three things I kind of like to focus on is your nurture. So as people come into your world, as you get those leads in and the people who are already in your world, you want to nurture them. And I like to, even 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks outside of your event that you're going to invite them to, start talking about the topic. So it's kind of be like what you talk about all the time. So whatever that event is, whatever your program is. So by the time you invite them to it, they already know that, like, they're almost expecting it because they're like, oh, she's already the expert in this. Like, this event's going to be amazing. I want to go. So really start to kind of to have that theme in everything that you do and say and talk for like months before it even happens.
Yeah, I see this all the time with book launches.
Mm.
People like write a freaking whole book. And I'll be like, oh, are you talking about it? It'll be like due to launch in 3 weeks. And I'm like, does anyone know? No. Nobody knows. You haven't posted about it one time? No.
You can talk about your whole journey about it, about your struggles, and you're writing this book, and like you did this and your achievements. Like, that's so much great content that you can be talking about as you build up to it. But yeah, if nobody knows, again, that's when launches can kind of go south because you're not out
Totally.
there talking about it and putting it in everybody's face all the time. Like when you do your marketing strategy, you want to be out there everywhere talking about it constantly. Which kind of brings me to the next thing. So like you're doing the nurture so many days out, but then, so say it's a free webinar, you can start inviting people to it. Like we were saying earlier, people need to be reminded of things several times. If it's a free one, you can do it like, 2 weeks, 7 to 10 days. People even do to actually start inviting them to it. And again, that's when you want to like just be inviting everybody everywhere. And what I like to do as well is like kind of make your invitations sort of interesting. Like, don't just be like, hey, come to my event. You want to maybe give your why story, why it's so important. You can give testimonials from clients. You can talk about, the biggest mistake that you learned and why this event solves that for them. You can kind of bring some nice content around the invitation that really like captures people and intrigues them.
Love it. That's great. So
and then the last thing,
marketing strategy. Okay, yeah. Last thing for marketing.
Sorry, for the marketing is just that once people actually register, you want to remind them to come. We talked about that low show up rate. You want to be like reminding them, but also do the reminding in a fun way as well. Do like FOMO, right? Like why they need to be there, why they need to come to your event, what their pain is, and how your event solves that for them. So that'll like entice them to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. I see this often to Elisa's point, when I'm signed up for some sort of event, there's times I'm getting like 12. I mean, we don't want to be that ridiculous, but there's times I'm getting like 12 reminders where they'll be like, hey, we're going live today.
Yeah.
And in 5 hours, we're going live in 5 hours. And then 2 hours, we're getting live in 2 hours. We're going live in an hour, going live in a minute. We're live right now.
Yeah, where are you?
We're live right now. Click, we're live right now.
But it's interesting because I feel people do that because like I've been in some events where I've had friends come and register as a support and they're like, you know what? I saw your 1 hour reminder, but I didn't see your starting now reminder. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Right. So I think that's why some people do so many because they never know which one you're going to see.
Totally. Yeah. Or even just how excited you are. There's some events I'm so excited about it. I'm like freaking ready. I cleared my whole calendar and I'm like 5 hours. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm already on the Zoom an hour beforehand, just ready to go. And then other ones, I'm just kind of like, eh. But then they're inviting me, right? I'll get a text, we're live right now. And I'll be like, okay. And I'll click it right on my phone, and watch it on my phone while I'm still working or something. So, people have different excitements around different topics, and you don't know what their excitement level is. So don't be assuming that they're as excited about bone health as you are, You got to bring the excitement yourself, you know?
Exactly. And give them a reason, they did sign up for a reason. And so remind them of that.
Exactly. Remind them of their aching back.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, this has been wonderful. So we've got the launch strategy, the lead strategy, and the marketing strategy. For those of you that are just jumping in, make sure you watch us from the beginning. Elisa gave some amazing value all around launching smarter, not harder. She gave 3 strategies that actually help you scale your strategy around launching. So as we're kind of closing up here, I would love for you to talk a little bit about like what exactly you do. I mean, obviously you gave a really good example of what you're helping with, that you're saying, hey, you can do this yourself if you want to. But if someone were listening and they're like, I need this lady in my life, who should be reaching out to you? Who do you work with? What exactly do you do for them?
So I work with coaches specifically because I was a coach, and I guess I still am a coach in some ways. And I just absolutely love, they're like my favorite people because I feel like they're doing so much amazing, good work. I feel like there's so much passion and purpose behind what they do. And whenever I speak to one, I get like all excited about, what they're so passionate about, and what they're trying to achieve and the way they want to make the world a better place. So yeah, I work with coaches, and yeah, I help them launch their online programs and events. Regardless of what size that looks like. Some do free webinars, some do 3-day events, programs anywhere from 500 to 25,000. Yeah. And they can reach me at my website is here, launchpartnerpro.com. And you can book a call with me and we can talk about your launch. We can talk about, where it is and how where you're at with it. I always like to give some tips as well, kind of like things that I talked about today. And yeah. I think I answered your question. I feel like there's maybe something I missed.
That's good. I love it. Yeah. So I'm on her website right now, launchpartnerpro.com. In the very, very front, there is a file or a link where you can actually press to connect with her. So right here, schedule a consultation would be a great way for you to connect with her and book a call. And then her social media is also at the very bottom. So her her LinkedIn, her Facebook, her YouTube, and her Instagram. So if you're kind of like in the works, but not quite ready to, schedule something, make sure you connect with her on social so that she's in your realm, right? So that she's in your world, so that she'll be popping up. So as you're building out your business and you're starting to think about building some sort of a launch for yourself, she'll already be in your content and be ready to connect with you. This has been great. I so appreciate you coming on and chilling with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been a great conversation. And I was so excited when you said you wanted to talk about numbers, because sometimes I do my talk and I'm like, is this too much math? I feel like I'm giving them too much math, but I think it's important. So
yes, absolutely. It's my favorite thing. I mean, that's what makes us our money, right? And if you're not in business, if you're not making the money, you're not even in business. So this has been fabulous. Like I said, for those of you listening live, if you're just now jumping on, make sure you go to the very beginning, rewatch, amazing value. If you are here on the replay and you've stayed with us to the very end, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
I would say, yeah, start early, like we talked about. And I don't think you can start too early, and really, because because there's so much work that, the earlier you start and the more help you get, the kinder you are to yourself, and then you won't burn yourself out. So, be kind to yourself, give yourself enough time to do everything that needs to get done, and get the help if you need it.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, to our dedicated listeners, thank you for being here and staying to the end. Remember to follow, like, and share. Once again, I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation Global, where we continue to uplift individuals every step of the way in order to make sure that we are taking our business to the next level and that we're really thriving versus barely surviving. Until next time, do something awesome today.